Ever gazed at the night sky and thought, man, I wish I had a closer look?
Oh, totally.
Well, get ready because we are diving deep, and I mean deep, into the world of backyard observatories.
Like those awesome structures people build just for stargazing.
You got it. And to guide our celestial journey, we have Astronomer Guide. It's an amazing resource packed with all the info you need. But before we get lost in domes and telescopes, let's talk about why someone would even want to build a backyard observatory. I mean, telescopes are portable, right?
True, but think about it. Lugging a heavy telescope around, hoping for clear skies, battling unexpected light pollution. It's not always the most convenient, is it?
You're preaching to the choir. I've definitely had my share of frustrating stargazing attempts. Remember that time when...
And let's be real, an observatory isn't just about convenience. It's about taking your stargazing game to a whole new level.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So imagine this, a dedicated space, permanently set up for all your stargazing needs. No more setup, no more packing up. Just walk in and you're ready to explore the cosmos.
That sounds amazing, especially after a long day. But what about the equipment? Doesn't that get pretty complicated?
It can, but that's where an observatory really shines. A permanent setup means you can invest in heavier, more powerful equipment. We're talking about those high-end telescopes, those incredible mounts that track the stars automatically, the kind of stuff that's just not practical to move around.
That makes sense. So it's not just about convenience, it's about opening up new possibilities. Possibilities like astrophotography.
Exactly. You want to capture those breathtaking images of distant galaxies and nebulae. A backyard observatory makes that so much easier. We'll dive into the specifics later, but trust me, it's a game changer.
Okay, you've definitely sold me on the why, but now I'm curious about the how. Where do you even begin with something like this?
Well, first things first. Location, location, location.
Right, because a backyard in the middle of Times Square probably isn't ideal for stargazing.
Exactly. Light pollution is public enemy number one for astronomers. You want to find a spot with minimal light pollution, good visibility of the horizon, and easy access.
Because stumbling through a muddy backyard in the dark with a telescope doesn't sound like my idea of fun.
Not quite. Astronomer Guide actually has a whole section on selecting the perfect location. They talk about everything from light pollution maps to considering the direction you want to observe most.
That's super helpful. So we've got light pollution, visibility. Anything else to consider before we break ground on our observatory?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about a permanent structure here, not just a telescope stand. That means permits, building codes, HOA restrictions, all that fun stuff.
The dreaded paperwork. I can already feel the excitement draining away.
I hear you, but trust me, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Oh.
Imagine pouring your heart and soul into building this amazing observatory, only to have it violate some obscure HOA rule.
You're right. Heartbreak City. Plus, I'd hate to become the neighborhood's cautionary tale, so permits it is. But enough about regulations and paperwork. Can we get back to the fun stuff?
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm already picturing myself under my own personal dome, sipping hot cocoa and exploring the cosmos. All right, so we've laid the groundwork, we're dodging those light-polluting foes, we're up to code with those pesky permits, found the perfect spot. Now for the exciting stuff, right? Designing this haven for stargazing.
You got it. And you know, Astronomer Guide really gets it. They know not everyone has like an observatory-sized budget.
Yeah, speaking of budget, does size actually matter when it comes to these things?
Oh, it absolutely does. But bigger isn't always better. You know, it all comes down to what you're actually aiming for.
Okay, so walk me through it.
Let's say you're mostly into checking out planets. A smaller setup would be totally fine for that. But if you're thinking down the line, hey, I want to capture those crazy detailed photos of galaxies, like way out there, well, you're going to need the space for some serious equipment. It's all about planning for those astronomical ambitions.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like choosing between a small car and a giant SUV.
Hmm?
Depends on the journey you're taking, right? And speaking of journeys, this guide mentions different dome styles. That classic rotating dome, it's iconic.
There's just something so timeless about it. But they also talk about these retractable roofs, which honestly, if you have height restrictions or, like you said, a tighter budget, they can be super practical. Just imagine you could open up your entire observatory to the sky. That's got to be an incredible experience.
Okay, now that's going on my bucket list. Stargazing under a retractable roof.
Uh,
Now let's talk building materials.
yeah.
Is there like a specific material that just screams observatory, or are we free to channel our inner architect here?
Well, there isn't exactly a material made for spaceships yet, but Astronomer Guide does go over some really popular options. Fiberglass, for example, super durable, low maintenance. It's like weather, do your worst, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm all about low maintenance.
Yeah.
Less time scrubbing, more time stargazing.
Exactly. Then there's steel, the ultimate for sturdiness. We're talking fortresses of observatories with this stuff.
Okay, so we've got durable, we've got sturdy. What if I'm looking for something in between?
Aluminum's a great choice then. It gives you that balance of strength and being budget friendly.
Love that there's an option for everyone. But no matter how cool the dome looks, it really boils down to what's inside, right?
Right.
What good is a fancy observatory if you're stuck with, like, a shaky telescope and a dying flashlight?
Oh, 100%. Astronomer Guide actually goes deep into this outfitting the interior. And their big thing is make sure your setup actually aligns with your goals. So
Yeah.
first things first, visual observations or astrophotography. Those are two very different paths.
All right, so let's say I'm all about those jaw-dropping images of distant galaxies. Like the kind you see and think, that needs to be my desktop background immediately. What kind of gear are we talking about here?
Well, then you, my friend, are jumping into the world of astrophotography. It's pretty amazing. We're talking high-quality cameras, those DSLRs, or even these dedicated astrophotography cameras. They're made specifically for this kind of stuff, the low-light, long exposures.
Wow, so there's actually a big difference between these cameras and the ones we use every day.
Oh, yeah. Huge. And don't even get me started on the mounts. You need something super sturdy. It can't have any vibrations during those long exposures.
It's all about stability.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. You're trying to capture these incredibly faint details, some of them millions of light years away, and the tiniest shake can ruin the whole thing.
It sounds way more involved than just pointing a camera at the sky. What about those incredibly detailed, super crisp images? How do they achieve that? It's like looking through a telescope in HD.
Ah, that's where things get really cool. Auto-guiding systems, dew heaters, they're the secret sauce.
Okay, I've heard of dew heaters. Are those for keeping my hands warm during those long nights?
Not quite, although warm hands are always a plus, right? Dew heaters are there to stop condensation. That way, you don't get any on your lens or your telescope mirror, which can completely ruin your images. It's super important, especially in humid climates or when you're doing those crazy long exposures.
Wow, I had no idea. See, this is why I love these deep dives. I learn something new every time. But back to these auto-guiding systems. What are those all about?
Think of them like little robot assistants for your telescope. They actually track your target star constantly, and I mean constantly, making tiny little adjustments to compensate for the Earth's rotation.
Whoa, it's like having a co-pilot for your telescope. Okay, so we've got the dome, the telescope, the camera, the dew heaters, the auto-guiding system. Anything else? Can I start stargazing, Hal?
Almost. We can't forget the brains of the operation, right?
Oh, right, the computer.
Exactly. These days, you really can't have a modern observatory without a powerful computer setup. You need something that can handle the software. And trust me, the software for astrophotography is intense. It controls your camera, captures the images, and then processes these massive files. And if you want to get really fancy, you can even control your dome and your mount remotely, all from your computer.
So basically, I could be stargazing from my couch. That's dangerously tempting. But before I get too comfy, are we missing anything else?
Almost there. But there's one thing a lot of people forget, and honestly, it can make or break your observatory experience. Storage.
Storage. Like for snacks.
Well, snacks are important, but I'm talking about all your equipment. Imagine, it's the middle of the night, you're super excited to observe, you walk into your observatory and trip over a tangled mess of cables and eyepieces in the dark. Not exactly the peaceful stargazing experience you were hoping for, right?
Oh, definitely not. I'd be the person who ends up breaking something expensive.
Yeah.
How do I avoid that disastrous scenario?
Organization is key. Astronomer Guide is all about this. They really stress dedicated storage solutions. Think cabinets, closets, sturdy shelves for heavy gear, drawers for all the smaller stuff. Basically become the Marie Kondo of observatory organization.
I love that. The Marie Kondo of the cosmos.
Because a well-organized space,
Yeah.
it not only keeps your equipment safe, but also makes those stargazing sessions way more enjoyable. No more frantic searches for that one elusive cable in the dark.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind that. An organized observatory equals a happy astronomer. Okay, so we've covered all the practical stuff, the how-tos, the what-tos of building a backyard observatory. But now I'm curious, why go through all this effort? I mean, we've talked about the benefits, the convenience, but I feel like there's something more, something deeper that draws people to this.
Oh, absolutely. It's more than just a building, right? It's an investment.
An investment in what?
In your own sense of wonder. Just imagine this. You step out your back door, and it's not just your backyard anymore. It's like a portal, your own personal gateway to the entire universe.
Wow, yeah. No more city lights washing out the stars. No more packing up all your gear for some late-night stargazing adventure.
Exactly. And think about those special astronomical events, eclipses, meteor showers, comets. You could witness all of that from your own observatory.
Talk about front row seats to the universe's greatest show. We've talked a lot about astrophotography, but let's be real, there's just something magical about seeing those celestial objects with your own eyes.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing beats that feeling. When you see those faint smudges of light through the telescope and realize those are entire galaxies, millions of light years away. It gives me chills just thinking about it.
Chills. And
Wow.
to think you can experience that any clear night, right from your backyard. But it's not just about personal enjoyment either, right? This guide also mentions outreach, sharing this passion with others.
Oh, for sure. A backyard observatory can be more than just a place for you. Imagine having friends and family over, hosting stargazing parties, introducing them to the wonders of the cosmos.
That's amazing. I love that.
You could even take it a step further. Invite local school groups, astronomy clubs. Who knows? You might just inspire the next generation of astronomers.
Now that is truly special. Sharing that sense of wonder and discovery, it's like passing the torch, the cosmic torch, to future generations.
And you never know, you might just spark a lifelong passion in someone. That's what it's all about. Building a backyard observatory, it's not just about bricks and mortar, it's about nurturing that love for the universe.
Beautifully said. So for anyone listening, anyone who's ever felt that pull, that draw towards the stars, who's looked up at the night sky and felt that sense of awe, that curiosity, maybe building a backyard observatory isn't such a crazy dream.
It's an adventure, a journey of discovery. And who knows, maybe someday, years from now, you'll be sitting in your observatory, warm drink in hand, gazing up at those stars, and you'll remember this conversation. You'll smile, knowing you took that leap, that you built your own window to the universe.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive into the incredible world of backyard observatories. We hope you enjoyed this cosmic journey as much as we did. Until next time, keep looking up and never stop exploring.